A Train Journey Through Time by Christina Gabites. It all starts in the 1950s birthday party room at York Castle Museum. All the toys are happy that they have spent so many lovely hours entertaining the children to help celebrate William's 8th birthday. He had a party with 10 of his friends and their parents. After the party had finished and the children had all gone, the toys start to come to life. Ted was the first to stir. He was donated to the museum by a little girl named Alice, who had been given Ted by her father before he went to war in 1914. Ted gives out a big yawn. Ooh. Well, that was a great party. The children had such a wonderful time. Alice would have been very proud, he thinks to himself. Could you have yawned any louder? Shouts Strong Woman. Ginger Cat, who is sitting on the cushion, meows. I agree, it was rather loud. Oh, do stop moaning, complains Victorian Doll. I second that, agrees Wooden Train. Anyway, as everybody is waking up, I think that we should take a trip around the museum. Who wants to jump on board? Well, I'm sure that we all do. But we shall have to take a sip of the shrinking drinking portion so that we can fit into your carriages, says Ted. Strong Woman, Ted, Victorian Doll and Ginger Cat all take a sip of the shrinking potion, feeling a tingly sensation as they become smaller and climb aboard Wooden Train. OK, who wants to choose where to go first? asks Wooden Train. Me, cries Strong Woman. You always get to choose first, moans Mr. Punch, who has been asleep in the middle carriage. Oh, no, I don't, explains Strong Woman. Oh, yes, you do, says Ted. Oh, no, I don't, cries Strong Woman. Stop, shouts Wooden Train. Remember, we are not in a pantomime or in a museum. I will decide and surprise you all. Toot, toot, woo, woo, here we go. Who's got the magic dust? Puffs Wooden Train. Me, says Ted excitedly. Well, what are you waiting for? Sprinkle it out the windows to help us take flight. Wooden Train lifts off the ground and with a puff of magical sparkly steam floats out of the party room. First stop is Gilligan's Galloping Carousel, a well-known horse-drawn roundabout from 1905. It was a popular attraction in Yorkshire that was run by Mr. and Mrs. Gilligan, known as Ma and Pa Jingle Bells. Choose your horses, the race is on, shouts Ma Jingle Bells. Strong Woman, Ted, Victorian Doll, Ginger Cat and Mr. Punch all hop onto a horse whilst Wooden Train has a rest. Sprinkle the magic dust, Ted, cries Victorian Doll. Ted opens his paw and sparkly sprinkles fill the air. Strong Woman, Ted, Victorian Doll, Ginger Cat and Mr. Punch lift off from Gilligan's Galloping Carousel on their horses. They head for Kirkgate, the Victorian street filled with shops, each telling a story about a real person who used to live in Victorian York. Let's stop at the sweet shop, G.E. Barton Confectioners. Their butterscotch sweets are out of this world, begs Strong Woman. Sweet making has been an important industry in York for over 200 years. Mr. Barton opened his first shop in 1881. They all arrive at the sweet shop. Strong Woman stares longingly through the window. Where has Mr. Punch gone? asked Victorian Doll suddenly. I thought he was behind you, purrs Ginger Cat. Oh, no, not again. He always gallops off on his own and forgets that we should all stay together. We shall have to find him. I'll go back to Gilligan's Galloping Carousel and speak to Wooden Train. Maybe you can help Puff and Chuff around and look for him, says Ted earnestly. Ted gallops off on his horse to get help from Wooden Train. He arrives back at the carousel. Wooden Train, we have lost Mr. Punch, pants Ted breathlessly. Oh, no, you haven't, says Wooden Train sleepily. Oh, yes, we have. Pa Jingle Bell shouts, Remember, you're not in a pantomime, but in a museum. Please will you help us to find him? Ted asks Wooden Train. Ted jumps back aboard Wooden Train. Where shall we start looking? Puffs Wooden Train. Let's take a look around Kirkgate. Mr. Punch's relative was locked up in the Kirkgate prison cell many years ago, says Ted. He's not here, though. Let's try York Castle Prison, which was built in the 1700s. Wooden Train sets off with Ted. They head over to York Castle Prison, where some of York's most badly behaved criminals were locked up. However, the people who were in prison for not paying bills were kept separate from the really scary criminals. Wooden Train and Ted look around the cells but can't find Mr. Punch. Where do we go from here? Just Wooden Train. Ted thinks. We could try the 1914 First World War exhibition. I know that one of his relatives was a prisoner of war. He may just want to spend some time alone finding out more about that period in history. OK, let's head up there then, agrees Wooden Train. I hope he ain't stuck in one of those horrid dark trenches. In the meantime, Strong Woman, Victorian Doll and Ginger Cat decide to look in the shaping of the body section of the museum, which include different fashions from the past 400 years. And they stop to look at a huge tandem tricycle. I hope that Wooden Train and Ted have found Mr. Punch, says Victorian Doll. Perhaps we should head back to Gilligan's Galloping Carousel before our magic dust runs out, suggests Strong Woman. Yes, OK, but can we go and look at the 60s gallery first? I love all the bright colours and the music and looking at the amazing shoes, replies Victorian Doll. They pass through a myriad of vibrant colours and the sound of music playing, nearly bumping into a space shuttle. Project Mercury was the USA's inaugural human spaceflight programme, and it ran from 1958 to 1963. And only one person could fit into the capsule. The Thunderbird Puppet Show was the first shown on TV in 1960. And in 1969, Apollo 11 was the first spacecraft to land humans onto the moon. There were lots of things that they were coming across in the museum. Strong Woman, Victorian Doll and Ginger Cat start heading back to Gilligan's Galloping Carousel. But on their way, they see Mr. Punch, Wooden Train and Ted. Where did you find Mr. Punch? Exclaimed Strong Woman. Well, it's a long story, but he was entertaining the animals from Noah's Ark in the 1914 room with the puppet show, and he lost all track of time, explains Ted. Mr. Punch looks sheepish. Oh, no, he wasn't, says Victorian Doll. We went past there earlier. Oh, yes, he was, cries Ted. Oh, no, he surely wasn't, shouts Strong Woman. Stop, whistles Wooden Train. Are you forgetting? We're not in a pantomime, we're in a museum. OK, let's get the horses to Gilligan's Galloping Carousel before we all run out of magic dust and our shrinking drinking potion wears off, smiles Ted. They head back to the carousel and thank Martin Parr Jingle Bells for letting them ride the horses. All aboard, toots Wooden Train. And sprinkle the last bits of magic dust to get us back safely, Ted. Sparkles of magic dust swirl around the wooden train and take them back to the 1950s birthday party room, back to where they started. They climb down from Wooden Train just in time as the potion wears off and position themselves back where the children left them in the party room, all ready for their next adventure.